friends, today we're going to do sunflowers, but I'm going to give them a three-dimensional twist by making baking soda and glue concoction to give it a little bit of a raised relief. So I have inspiration, but we're going to paint our background first. So I have green, blue, white, brown, and gold, and a big brush, and we're going to mix kind of a teal color. Teal and yellow are quite nice offsets of color. So I'm just going to take 2 scoops of green, 2 scoops of blue, and a little half a scoop of white to get my base teal color. And this can kind of marble, this can be streaky. And I'm just gonna start to create the background and just give it a nice streaky color. I am working on a canvas. It is actually stretched on wood, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of this bluish color and streak in a little bit of white, maybe put in a little bit of brown here and there, and also even a little touch of gold, just to create this really interesting background. Now I also want to get the sides, so I'm going to just streak a little bit of color along the edge, just so when you hang it on the wall it looks nice, goes right into the wall. And I'm also going to get my sides here. I'm just going to streak in a little bit of this color. And also this as well. So all the sides are painted, and you don't need a lot of color for this. Whatever was on my brush is what's streaking in, but I did want to start to streak it on the actual canvas because it's going to force the paint into the bristles, and then I can rework the front. Just kind of go back and forth. Your background can be however you want your background to be. You could do bolder streaks. It's really up to you. I think I'm going to hold off on the brown and the gold until I'm a little bit more done, just so that it pops a little bit more. And I actually might use the palette knife to kind of give it a really cool background texture. I'm using nice horizontal zen brush strokes just to go back and forth and cover my background. You could do textured brush strokes. It's really up to you. Now the brush strokes I'm creating are very wispy and very light, just to try to incorporate a little bit of background texture. So as you can see, the contrast is going to be really very pretty. I'm going to mix a little bit of a lighter blue. Just get a little bit more streak in there. Try to hug the sides because the middle is probably going to be covered with my sunflower. Get more really cool streaks in there. I'm going to start adding a little bit of gold. Let's go ahead and try the palette knife with the gold and see what we get with that. All right, so I have pretty good texture on this, and when I come back, I'm going to create a sunflower. It might be a little bit bigger than this. I might do two. I am not sure yet. I do want this to be portrait, but in the frame, it is actually landscape. So, yeah. So once you've got your background, we're just gonna, of course, let this dry. We really want this to dry well because when we create our mixture, it is going to take longer to dry too. So you want the underneath part to actually be dry before you move forward. All right, so just let it dry and we'll go on to the next step next. So I've let it dry and I'm going to concoct a baking soda and glue concoction to give the paint a bit of a filler. So I'm adding baking soda and I'm going to add some glue to this. And we want kind of equal proportions. And I have a spoon to kind of mix it up. So just glue and baking soda. Really want to make sure this is stirred up. Maybe I'll just do one big giant sunflower. We'll just start with that. We'll go in the center. And this is going to be the middle of the sunflower. And I want it to kind of be a bit textury. And we'll start to kind of push some of the petals out. I'm just kind of extending just so I could see where my pattern is. And I also want to leave space for where my stem is going to go. So I'll go ahead and build up my stem. All right, I'm just going to extend this out to to try to create sunflower petals. Got such an interesting texture to it. Just going to go ahead and rotate this so it's a little easier to work with. Just extending these out. And maybe adding a little more section. I'm just pulling everything back in towards the middle to keep my texture. So it goes on kind of chunky, and then the glue kind of smooths it out a little. It's very interesting. I think we had a little section that was wet, and that kind of mushed into the concoction, but we can paint over it. We'll just kind of smush it back in there. All right, we're just gonna let that set up. I'm going to probably let it sit for about 24 hours or at least overnight. I think we'll just let it sit overnight and see where we're at. So I've let this dry for probably 18 hours. So it's pretty dry. So the relief is created. I have some colors here. I've got white, I've got two different yellows, I've got two different greens, a brown, and I also have an orange. So those are the colors that I'm using. I'm going to use a variety of different size brushes, and probably also my favorite round brush that's fairly large. And we're going to start painting it in. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of the lighter yellow first, and I'm just going to start to kind of create where my circle is. And just kind of redefine that so I know where it's at. And we could start adding a little bit of yellow to this. And I'm not going to add water because I don't want it to resaturate, so I'm just going to use pretty strong paint for this. And I'm just doing every other one just to try to find some of the areas so that it's just a little bit highlighted. And we'll eventually be building these up. And there's the sun and the sunflower right there. All right, I'm going to take a little tiny bit of orange and just kind of start to create a little bit of orange going around the edges. Just to give it a little bit of a darkness on the inside. Where they kind of sprout from. I'm going to switch to another yellow, a little bit darker. It's okay if there's a little tiny bit of that orange on there. And you can go back and forth between the two different yellows. You can also streak in a little bit of white to try to highlight a couple of the areas as well, but just going back and forth in between the different yellows. Just want to fill this space and try to be careful not to touch the background. If you do, you could take a little tiny bit of water and brush and just kind of make that come up. I think for that little white spot that we created with the baking soda and glue mixture, probably needs to just be covered up by some white. It's going to be hard to cover it up with the yellow. Got really interesting texture. All right, I'm just gonna let the petals set up for a little while, and then we can go into some other colors later. I'm gonna start working on the base or the stem. Really cool, interesting texture. I'm just going to add a little bit of the darker green, kind of give it a little shadow, little different kind of colors coming in. And we'll go ahead and start to get the middle section. Use my round brush. So I'm just painting in the base for now. We'll add a little bit of detail a little bit later. But for right now, we just have a nice base on. And I'm just kind of texturing it, but I will be adding more colors. All right. So we pretty much have the base. Okay, and we'll probably just let this sit up for a little bit, and then we'll add a little bit more detail and texture. But pretty good start. So it is dried, and now I can build up some more layers. So I'm going to start using my smaller brush, and I'm just going to start to create some little lines and just try to build up the contour of the sunflower. I'm going to add a little brown, run down some of the orange. I'm going to make a lighter yellow. Just kind of go over some of those brighter little spots, or darker spots I should say. So I have a little bit of gold and a little bit of copper to accentuate this. I'm going to start with my copper and give it a little shine. I'm just kind of going to go over the orange parts. Maybe a little on the stem. And then I've got a little bit of gold that I want to add as well. This gold goes on a little darker and a little thicker, but it should dry a little more opaque. And maybe add a little bit more darker brown with a little bit of gold. Try to give it some texture and shine in the middle. A little bit more black. And maybe just a little bit of gold on its own. Popping up that middle a little. All right, I'm gonna let that dry, and I think we're gonna Mod Podge the back. So you might want to clean off any of the little areas that might still have some of that mixture with the glue and the baking soda. Once we Mod Podge, it should seal in, but you just want to clean up around it just a little bit with just a little bit of water and a little brush. You can kind of scrape off some of the residue too, but just go around and just kind of eliminate any of that residual material. And I wanted to add a little bit more gold to my leaves on the top. And you can mix a little gold with a little bit of yellow. Warm it up a little. I just wanted to give it a little highlight on the top portion of the leaf. And maybe also on the stem. Just give it some more layers. Okay, so I have some Mod Podge and I want to paint on kind of a lacquer for the background. So I'm just going to pour it directly and then just kind of move it around. And kind of get in those grooves. Before I did this though, I kind of went through and made sure that there was no white showing where the leaves kind of were right in this area. Just from the baking soda and glue concoction. And just kind of going through a couple of the areas. Just giving a bit of a sheen to the background. So it has that contrast. And it'll go on like glue, but then it will kind of dry a nice clear lacquer. This should also help clean up any of those residual baking soda glue concoction residuals. We'll just want to flatten it out. And we'll add a little on this side. Alright, we're just going to let that dry. When we come back, it's probably going to be a lot more clear and shiny. and should have that contrast between kind of the matte and the shiny. And here's the final product. Just zooming in, you could see all that texture and all of the texturedness to it. The shine, the glow. Just a fun painting. Bringing it to the side so you can see a little bit of the raised relief on the side. Just a fun painting. Thanks for watching, guys. If you had a good time, please like, subscribe, and I'll keep these ones coming. Have a great day. Have a sunshiny day.